A blessed day to each and everyone. This is Winmei Hoyohoy from BSED English 3A, and in this video we're going to tackle about the style and transitivity. So, what is style in stylistic? So, in stylistic, style refers to a distinctive choices a writer or speaker makes in using language, going beyond simple expression of meaning to create a particular effect or impression. Style, it is about the individualistic and creative way of someone express themselves through language, encompassing elements such as word choice, sentence, structure, tone, and more. So, in the essence, style is the how of language, the distinctive manner in which something is said or written, going beyond the what of the message itself. So, when we talk about distinctive choices, it refers to options that stand out from the others due to unique and memorable qualities, characteristics, and features. A literary style is the distinctive way on an author uses the language, including their choices of words, sentence structure, and other linguistic features to create a specific effect on the readers. A style can be characterized by various stylistic devices such as similes, metaphors, and alliteration, as well as more general elements like tone, mode, and point of view. So, I have here the example of simile. So, the man's face was a wrinkled as a map. So the author choices his or her word to emphasize a meaning based on this sentence. So it means that creating a visual comparison and evoking a sense of age and experience. So in this passage, the man's face was a wrinkled as a map. So the author choose the words that expresses these phrases. So it expresses the visual comparison and evoking a sense of age and experience. So next we have metaphor. So the storm was a beast roaring and tearing out the window. So here it expresses about the storm. So it's evoking the destructive power of the storm. So instead of saying the storm is powerful, they use another distinctive choices of words, because distinctive choices of words is it is a words that stand out from others due to their unique and memorable qualities. So instead of saying the storm was too powerful, you can use the storm was beast roaring and tearing at the window. So next is the alliteration. So one of the alliteration that I know is the Peter Piper. So here we have Peter Piper pick a peck of pickled pepper. So in this alliteration, it means that it creating a playful and memorable sounds. So it is basically and very understandable. So by analyzing these elements, stylistic help us to understand how language choices contribute to the meaning, impact, and overall style of the literary works. So now, let's talk about transitivity. So, in stylistic, what is transitivity? So, transitivity refers to how language structures and represent actions, process, and participants in a sentence, often through verbs and their related object. So, by analyzing what is transitivity, stylists can interpret how language choices to convey meaning and create effects. Transitivity is not just about the grammar, it's about how language shapes our understanding of the world and our experiences. It also helps us to understand how language can construct and reflect to our perceptions, thought, and emotions. So, in stylistic, transitivity analysis examines how events and their participants are represented in language, revealing how different actions and their rules are expressed. This analysis can be used to understand how linguistic choices contribute to meaning and characterization in literary works. So I have three examples here. So the first example is the material processes and characterization. So consider the following sentence from a novel. The old man wrenched the rusty gate open. So this sentence uses a material process which is wrench to describe a physical action. So the verb wrench or the action word wrench implies a forceful, perhaps even violent or action which can reveal something about the character's personality or the situation intensity. So the example number two, it's all about mental processes and internal state. So in a passage describing a character's thought, a mental process like, for example, he wondered if he had made a right decision. So this sentence reveals the character's internal state, their anxieties or doubts. So by using the mental verb like wondered or thinking, transitivity analysis can help to understand that how these mental processes are expressed linguistically and contribute to the overall tone and the meaning of the passage. So for example number three is about relational process and their social roles. So it is so basic and very understandable. So the sentence like she is a doctor or he is a doctor. So it uses a relational process to establish the relationship or identity. So the verb is links to she, like it is a subject verb agreement because the verb is linked to she or agree to the noun she. Tapos the she to the role of the doctor because she is a doctor. So which can be used to analyze social structures and power dynamics in the text. So it is very understandable. So transitivity analysis and stylistic allows for a deeper understanding of how linguistic choices can contribute to the text or in the context. And now we're going to tackle about the next topic, which is according to Henry James, he posted a pair of rhetorical questions. What is character but the determination of incident? What is incident but the illustration of character? In his essay, The Art of Fiction, Henry James posted a rhetorical questions. So this praise emphasizes the intertwined relationship between a character's action, and the events that shape their personality. So James argues that a character's action reveal their natures, and conversely, a character's nature drives their action. James' statement highlights that a character action and the events they experience are not separated but are interconnected and natural, illuminating. So Henry James highlight the deep interdependence between the character and plot. So let's break down the rhetorical question first. So what is character but the determination of incident? So it means that a character's nature, their choices, traits, values, determines what happens in the story. So, for example, a brave character might choose to face danger, while the fearful one might flee, setting by different plots in motion. So, what is incident but the illustration of character? So, events is in the story are expression of who the characters are. So what they do and how they react, and the situation they create or fall into, all reveal their personalities. So in short, according to Henry James, the character drives plot and plot reveals character. They are inseparable in good fiction. So I have also another example of a character determines incident in a school setting. So for instance, so during a group project, so for instance, you notice that a teammate plagiarized their part or plagiarized their assignment or activity. So even though you are shy and doesn't want a conflict, but you are strong, and have a sense of integrity, then that's characteristic of being strong and have a sense of integrity, leads you to privately tell the teacher. So you're going to tell the teacher that the work of your teammates or someone group mates are plagiarized. So that action sets a series of events, conversation with the team. So you're going to maybe you think that your action might save your team, or you are just a grade review, maybe even tension among the classmates. So you're going to make that for the sake of your classmates, also to be fair to others. So in the incident illustrate characters, the moment that you speak up even nervously, or you're going to raise that kind of situation or that kind of events, even if you're nervous, that shows your value, honestly, responsibility, and a quiet courage, because you have raised that kind of issue, even though if you don't want conflict, or so even though you don't want conflict or you are shy, but if you have quiet courage, you speak up about the issue. So that incident, because of that incident rather, that is the reflection of who you are. So this shows that that even in everyday situation, the plot or the incident and the personality or the character are deeply connected. They are not um, they are separated. They are not separated, but they are connected. So now let's going to tackle about the development in the analysis of style and transitivity. But first, let's tackle about the development in the analysis of style in the field of or within stylistic. So stylistic development in the analysis of styles, it is refers to the evolution of approach and techniques used to study and interpret the language, particularly in literature and other forms of writing. These emerging fields studies the development of stylistic competence in language production and reception, both in spoken and written forms. Stylistic increasingly draws on insight from the other disciplines such as discourse analysis, social linguistics, and multimodal communication. So, this analysis of style has evolved from a focus on rhetoric and form to a more holistic and interdisciplinary approach that consider language structure, cognitive processes, and the context of communication. So, the development of the analysis of styles within stylistics has evolved through several key phases, reflecting shift in both linguistic theory and literary criticism. So first we have the traditional stylistics during pre-20th century. So it is rooted in a classical rhetoric and literary criticism. It emphasizes ornamentation, figures of speech, and aesthetic quality. So the style was seen as something added to content to make it more persuasive and beautiful. So second, we have the early 20th century, which is the foundations of a modern stylistic. So it influences by structural linguistics and Russian formalism. Styles began to be analyzed as a system of choice with the language. So it also focuses on foregrounding the idea of the idea the idea that stylistic features stand out from the norm to draw attention. Third, we have the mid 20th century, or should I call linguistic stylistic. So the scholars like M.A.K. Halliday, Geoffrey Leach, and Roman Jacobson advanced this field. So style was analyzed in terms of linguistic categories such as syntax, lexis, phonology, and semantics. So Halliday's functional approach linked style to ideational, interpersonal, and textual functions of language. Fourth, we have the late 20th century, the cognitive and discourse stylistics. So here, it emphasizes shifted to the reader's role in constructing the meaning. So cognitive stylistic explored how mental process, for example, the schema, metaphor, conceptual blending, shapes stylistic interpretation. Um, so it also integration with discourse analysis, introduce context, ideology, and power into the stylistic studies. So lastly, we have this 21st century, which is the present, and it's called the digital and multimodal stylistics. So it use of computational tools for stylometric analysis, for example, the authorships, attribution, and the frequency analysis. So it growing interest in multi-modal stylistic, which studies how style operates across media, for example, visual, auditory, and spatial modes. We also have the application to non-literary text, including social media, advertising, film script, and political discourse. So we have also the contemporary stylistics. So first we have the interdisciplinary approaches. So the blending linguistic, um, psycho psychology as a cultural and psychology AI and cultural theory. We also have the critical stylistics, so it focusing on how language shape ideology, identity, and social structures. So lastly, we have under the contemporary stylistic is pedagogical stylistics, which is applying stylistic tools in education, especially in a second language learning and into a literary appreciation. So now we're done tackling about the development in the analysis of style, and now we're tackling about stylistic development in the analysis of transitivity. So it involves examining how the choice of process types such as a material, mental, and rational, and their participants within a text contributes to the overall stylistic effect and meaning. So these choices of process types are my example earlier in this video. So this approach reveals how language choices reveal not only the communication but also the speakers, writers, worldview, and thought processes, so shaping the character and narrative structure. So transitivity can help establish the setting and atmosphere of a text, differentiating it from other genres to subgenres. Transitivity analysis provides a powerful tool for understanding how language choices contribute to the stylistic development and meaning of a text, offering insight into the writer's intention and the text's broader context. So, development in the analysis of transitivity within stylistic. So, the analysis of transitivity in stylistic, especially from a systematic functional linguistic, which is the SFL, means the systematic functional linguistic. So, perspective has development significantly over time, expanding from basic grammatical observation to a powerful tool for uncovering ideology, character, perspective, and narrative voice. So, so, so the following are the um, development in the analysis of transitivity. So first we have the origins of grammar, or origins in grammar. So here, traditionally, transitivity referred whether a verb took the direct object. For example, she ate an apple. That is transitive because the verb took the direct object, which is the apple. So this was a syntactic view, focused mainly on a sentence structure and verb types. So next is we have also Halliday's foundation Halliday's foundation reinterpretation during 1960s to 1970s. So according to M.A.K. Halliday, revolutionized the concept in his systematic functional linguistics, which is SFL, and he redefined transitivity as part of the ideational meta function, which is how language represents experience. So transitivity now involves process type, participation, and circumstances, such as the material process, which is the action and events, the mental process, which is thinking, feeling, and perceiving. We have also the rational process, or the being or having, and behavioral, verbal, and existential process, and others. So style could thus be analyzed through the distribution of process types to uncover worldviews and ideology positioning. So next is we have the application and literacy stylistic. This um, this stylistic came from 1980s to 1990s. So going present. So the scholars began using transitivity to analyze character portrayal, so point of view, and the power dynamics. So here the people use um, transitivity to character portrayal, to know who is the character. So transitivity patterns became a tool for close reading, so revealing how grammatical choices reflect thematic concerns. And next we have the critical stylistics and discourse analysis. So when we talk about discourse analysis, it is how people use the language. So this happened during 2000s to present. So transitivity analysis was adapted to critical discourse analysis, or the CDA, to reveal ideology and manipulation in the political or media text. So transitivity used to explore biases, evasion of responsibility, and construction in social roles, such as passive construction to hide agency mistaken was made. So in this era, transitivity used or adapt by critical discourse to reveal ideology and manipulation, to reveal the mistake was made, especially in the political issues. So the transitivity used to explore the biases, or to um, and invasion responsibility that they need to face. So next is we have the current trends, which is literally the current. So the current trends, transitivity integrate with corpus linguistic. When we talk about corpus, it is a collection of a large text. Corpus linguistic for a large-scale patterns analysis across genres. So transitivity application to multimodal text, such as how visuals and language continue to distribute agencies. And lastly, we have transitivity used in a cognitive stylistic to explore how readers process transitivity choices and their effects on the empathy and or the evaluation. So that's it for my report. I hope you have understand something in this video. Goodbye.